Hoflation, the idea that modern women expect more from men while bringing less to the table. If you've tried dating as an average guy in 2026, you'll realize that it feels like the majority of women are simply out of touch with reality. They act like hoes, yet want to be treated like wives. They expect a man to take full responsibility for them and even put her life before his own without giving him any authority over her. And this isn't just something some basement dwellers came up with as an excuse for being incels. It's literally been proven that most women believe men's average height is taller than it is, or men's average income is a lot higher than what most men actually make. But why is hoflation happening now more than ever? And more importantly, whose fault is it, women or men? Because in order to solve a problem, we need to understand the cause. And what can you do to hedge against hoflation so that you can still succeed in modern dating and hopefully meet your future wife? Because hoflation isn't going to just be fixed by blaming women for everything, which is what many men are doing. Because we can't ignore the fact that men are actually the biggest reason for hoflation, more specifically simps.
I'm not seeing anyone right now. Guys are jerks.
God, I know, right? Guys are the worst.
Simps are low-value men who use their attention to overinflate women's collective self-image, and if we're being honest, it's mostly Indians and old guys on the internet that are doing this, right? You see them in every girl's comment section commenting, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and the heart eyes emoji. But the thing is, to a woman on Instagram, 1,000 likes is 1,000 likes. Don't matter who it's from. The attention inflates her ego all the same. And you gotta understand, women have always seen attention as a currency that they can get from men, but for most of human history, it was limited by the number of men that were in her tribe or her town. Like, there might have only been one or two simpy guys, and they were seen as losers, but it's the dose that makes the poison. Social media opened the floodgates for women to be bombarded with so much cheap male attention that they simply aren't biologically wired to process. And since attention is the main metric that women use to measure their value towards men, modern women now believe that they are more attractive than they actually are and see the majority of men as below them, even if they're really not. They reject men in real life who they would have otherwise been content with if it weren't for hoflation, and in the end, no one's happy. Men are all single because no women want them, and all the women are single because she can't find a man she wants. And one more thing to be aware of, it's not just these Indian gooners with no profile picture that are doing this. You've probably contributed to the problem and done what I call micro-simping. Micro-simping is when you give small bits of attention to women who haven't really earned it, but you must understand it all adds up. Every single like, every view, every second of time that you give to undeserving women contributes to the overall problem of hoflation and women just getting too much cheap male attention. So be aware of micro-simping and value your attention. Only give it to women who reciprocate your interest, and don't be following random girls on Instagram who don't even follow you back and then complaining about hoflation. Oh, no women want any men, when you're literally contributing to the problem yourself. The second cause of hoflation is, of course, other women, more specifically lying women. And in no other place is this more apparent than the Instagram comments section, where there exists this unspoken social contract between women, and from what I've observed is that when women post their pictures, they will intentionally turn off the like count and keep the comments turned on, and then every other girl fulfills their end of the contract by commenting 2, 3, 4 times on each other's posts. Even if they barely know each other, they'll still do it. Even if they hate each other, they will comment saying, "Oh, you're so gorgeous," "Oh, you're a baddie," right? Like, you can always count on girls calling fat chicks beautiful to their face or when it's on Instagram, but then when she's behind closed doors, she's gonna call that girl fat. Now, I'm not entirely sure why women do this, because I don't even think they realize what they're doing, but it seems like a subconscious way to boost each other's perceived amount of attention that they get, and thus their perceived social value. Like, it's funny, with guys, when it comes to this shit, we do not care. I've got some guys that I've been friends with for 10 plus years, and we've never taken a picture together, we've never posted each other, we never comment on each other's stuff. And I think that's just because men care more about reality and women care more about perception. And this is just another way that women's self-image becomes overinflated, when they increase each other's perceived amount of social value. Women don't admit it, but they really do care about attention and perception of attention, and that's why social media is such a cancer for women these days, because it gives them an easy way to measure and boost each other's perceived amount of social value with followers and likes, right? These are easily visible metrics for us to measure, and it gives women an easy way to try and boost their perceived value in the sexual marketplace, and it just messes up everything for men and women. Because as much as hoflation is annoying for an average man to deal with, I really don't think women benefit from this as much as you probably think. Like, imagine you're just an average girl, and from the moment you reach puberty, you are fed this you go girl mentality that you're a 10 out of 10 and men ain't shit, and you're just constantly overstimulated with so much cheap male attention from Indians, so you start to think that you deserve the best, even though you're average, but no one will tell you that you're average, you think you're a 10 out of 10. So naturally, because of all of this conditioning, you're gonna start to raise your standards, and you can imagine you start to believe that you deserve a 10 out of 10 Chad type of guy. So imagine one day you're at a party or you're out and about and you meet an actual 10 out of 10 Chad, and since you think you finally met a guy that's on your level, you hook up with him. You pursue him, you want a relationship with him, but of course he won't commit because every other girl wants the same guy. Every other girl thinks the same thing, that they deserve the top 5% of guys. So eventually you're about 30 years old, you're done having your fun, and you finally decide to learn that if you want commitment, you need to settle, quote unquote, for a guy who is, quote unquote, below you. And you're always left thinking that you could have done better, that you deserve that 10 because you're a 10, even though you're realistically a 6 and you're married to a 6, which makes sense, that should work, but you still think that you deserved better because of hoflation. This is the story of what's called an alpha widow, and it perfectly describes the situation that the majority of women are in. Because it's not necessarily having hooked up with guys in the past that makes a woman less fulfilled in her marriage and more likely to cheat. It's the fact that one of those guys was better than her husband, because comparison really is the thief of happiness. And of course, men don't really have it any better these days. Most men have a serious lack of good options, and then a minority of men have so many options and have so much abundance, right? Most guys die of thirst while few get to drown in it. And that's the way it's always been to a certain extent, but social media has completely exploded this reality and made it so much harder. And with the state of modern dating, it is so easy for us to lose hope. You face constant embarrassment and rejection from women. The odds are not in your favor, and I just want you to know that it is possible to still win. You can get into a relationship with a wife quality woman who is obsessed with you and would do anything for you, and you can just imagine she genuinely desires you. So I'm putting a free video down below where I speak about how I went about doing that. I don't want to spoil it, so just go watch it for yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.